In the 6th century, the Arabian Peninsula was a land of contrasts. It was mostly made up of vast deserts, dotted with small, lively oases and cities. These cities were important stops in ancient trade routes. At this time, big changes were about to happen, led by one of the most important people in history. But before these changes, Arabia was a place with old traditions, frequent tribal fights, and a mix of different religious beliefs. The Arabian Peninsula was not united. Power belonged to many different tribes, each one fiercely independent and loyal to its own family. There wasn't a central government, so tribes relied on their own rules and alliances to keep order, often leading to violent clashes. These tribes, including the powerful Quraysh in Mecca and the nomadic Bedouins in the desert, lived in a constant state of tension and rivalry. In this world of tribal conflicts, Mecca was a special place. It was more than just a city. It was a major trading center, positioned at the crossroads of important trade routes. Mecca attracted caravans loaded with goods like silks from China, spices from India, and ivory from Africa. This made Mecca wealthy and gave great respect to the Quraysh tribe that ruled the city. Besides trade, Mecca was also a key religious center. It was home to the Kaaba, a sacred building where many tribes came to worship their idols. Religion in Arabia was very diverse. Most people practiced polytheism, meaning they worshipped many gods. Each tribe had its own gods and spirits. The Kaaba, before it became the main Islamic shrine, was a place where many gods were worshipped, drawing pilgrims from all over the region. But not everyone in Arabia was polytheistic. Some tribes, especially in the north, practiced monotheistic religions like Christianity and Judaism, influenced by the nearby Byzantine and Sasanian empires. Despite the many religious beliefs, there was growing dissatisfaction among some Arabs. Many people felt their society was morally and spiritually lacking, so they began looking for a higher, single God. This idea would soon become central to Muhammad's teachings. In this complex and changing world, Muhammad ibn Abdullah was born around 570 CE in Mecca. His birth was not just the arrival of another child in the desert. It was the beginning of a story that would change the world forever. Muhammad was born into the Quraysh tribe, the most powerful and respected tribe in Mecca. The Quraysh were the guardians of the Kaaba, giving them significant religious authority, and they controlled the profitable trade routes passing through the city. Muhammad's clan, the Banu Hashim, was known for its noble lineage, even though it wasn't very wealthy. His family traced its roots back to Ishmael, the son of Abraham, which was very important in Arab tradition. Muhammad's early life was filled with loss and hardship. His father, Abdullah, died before he was born, and his mother, Amina, died when he was just 6 years old, leaving him an orphan. In a society where family ties were crucial, losing both parents at such a young age could have been devastating. But this tough start in life helped Muhammad build the strength that would later define his mission as a prophet. After his mother's death, Muhammad was cared for by his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, a respected elder of the Quraysh. However, this stability was short-lived, as his grandfather passed away 2 years later. At the age of 8, Muhammad was taken in by his uncle, Abu Talib, who, though not wealthy, was influential in the tribe. Despite having little, Abu Talib treated Muhammad with great kindness and raised him as his own son. Growing up under Abu Talib's care, Muhammad learned about the challenges of tribal leadership and how to maintain peace in a divided society. As a young boy, he often traveled with his uncle on trading journeys as far as Syria. These trips exposed him to different cultures and religious practices, which, combined with his thoughtful nature, likely shaped his spiritual and moral views, preparing him for the revelations that would later define his life. Muhammad's early years were marked by quiet reflection, a strong sense of duty, and a deep awareness of the social injustices around him. These experiences, though difficult, played a key role in shaping the man who would eventually challenge the old ways of Arabian society and lead it into a new era of religious and social change. Muhammad's journey to becoming the Prophet of Islam started quietly in the mountains near Mecca. Among these mountains, there was a small cave called the Cave of Hira, which Muhammad loved. This cave, hidden in the rocky hills of Jabal al-Nur, became the special place where something amazing happened that changed history forever. In Islam, the Cave of Hira isn't just a place. It's a symbol of thinking deeply and searching for the truth. Muhammad often went to this cave to be alone and think, away from the problems and confusion in Mecca. When he was 40 years old, something incredible happened during one of these quiet times. Muhammad had an experience that would change his life and the lives of billions of people. One night in the year 610 CE, while Muhammad was in the dark cave, he suddenly felt the presence of someone very powerful. It was the angel Gabriel, God's messenger. Gabriel came to him with a command that would begin Muhammad's role as a prophet. Gabriel said, "Iqra," which means recite. Muhammad, who didn't know how to read, was confused and replied, "I am not a reader." But Gabriel repeated the command, and suddenly Muhammad found himself speaking words that would later become the first verses of the Quran, the holy book of Islam. This first revelation was short, but very powerful. The words Muhammad spoke were about a creator who made humans and taught them by the pen. It was not just about reading, it was about recognizing a higher power and sharing this knowledge with others. Muhammad was deeply shaken by this experience. He was scared and ran out of the cave as fast as he could. When he got home, he was trembling and asked his wife, Khadijah, to cover him with a blanket. Khadijah comforted him and listened as he told her what had happened. Muhammad was afraid he was losing his mind or that he had been possessed by a jinn, a spirit from the desert. But Khadijah, who was wise and strong in her faith, reassured him. She told him that God would never harm someone as good and honest as him. She then took Muhammad to see her cousin, Waraka ibn Nawfal, a learned Christian scholar. After hearing what Muhammad had experienced, Waraka confirmed that this was indeed a message from God, like the ones given to prophets before him, such as Moses. He told Muhammad that he had been chosen as a prophet, a role that would bring great challenges. This realization was both amazing and heavy. Muhammad now understood that he had been chosen to guide people by sharing God's message, a task that would test his strength and courage in the years to come. After understanding his divine mission, Muhammad began to share the message he had received. The first person to believe in him was his wife, Khadijah. Her support was not just a personal comfort, but a strong endorsement of his mission. Khadijah's faith gave Muhammad the strength to keep going, even though he was afraid and unsure of what lay ahead. The next person to believe in Islam was Ali, Muhammad's young cousin, who lived with him. Even though Ali was only 10 years old, he trusted Muhammad completely and accepted the new faith without hesitation. Ali would later become a very important figure in Islam, especially for Shia Muslims, but at that time, he was just a boy who believed in his uncle. The third person to become a Muslim was Abu Bakr, a respected and wealthy merchant. Abu Bakr's conversion was very important because he was well known and trusted by many people in Mecca. Through Abu Bakr, several other prominent people in Mecca learned about Islam, including Uthman ibn Affan and Zubair ibn al-Awwam, who would later play key roles in spreading Islam. As more people accepted Islam, the leaders of the Quraysh tribe became worried. They saw the new religion as a threat to their power and traditions. The Quraysh tribe was powerful because of the Kaaba, a sacred place that attracted pilgrims. Muhammad's teachings, which rejected idol worship and promoted equality, were seen as a challenge to the established way of life in Mecca. The Quraysh began to oppose Muhammad and his followers more and more. What started as teasing and social exclusion quickly turned into persecution. Many early Muslims, especially those who were poor, faced insults, physical attacks, and economic boycotts. But despite these difficulties, the small Muslim community stayed strong in their faith, finding strength in Muhammad's leadership and the continuing revelations from God. The story of these early followers is one of bravery and determination. Even when faced with great challenges, they remained committed to their beliefs, laying the foundation for what would become one of the largest and most influential religions in the world. Their loyalty to Muhammad and Islam would soon lead to major changes in Mecca, setting the stage for the next part of the Prophet's journey.